Here's what the news doesn't tell you about cases like this. They are not rare. Every year, hundreds of people make choices in moments of extreme pain that changes their life forever. Every year, betrayed partners confront the people their partners cheated with, and the fight gets worse. Every year, families are destroyed not by the cheating itself, but by the violence that follow. We want to believe we are different, that we would handle betrayal with dignity, walk away with our heads up, get divorced and move on cleanly. But until you understand in that moment, drowning in that pain, you can't know what you're able to do. Jessica thought she knew. She was wrong. Now she knows what it feels like to lose everything, to watch your kids grow up through prison glass, to know that one moment of anger cost you 20 years, cost two people their life, cost two children both their parents, cost families peace they'll never fully get back. Jessica had 8 years left on her sentence, 8 more years of grey walls and metal tables and monthly visits with kids who are becoming strangers, 8 more years of wondering what her daughter sounds like when she laughs with friends, what her son's favorite subject in school is, what it would feel like to hug them without a guard timing it. She can ask for early release in 5 years, might get out early for good behavior, might rebuild some small part of her relationship with her kids before they are fully grown, might find a way to live with what she's done, or might not, might spend the rest of her life as the woman who killed someone over cheating, the woman who destroyed her family, the woman who served as a warning in think peace and true crime shows. Both features are possible. Which one becomes real depends on things Jessica can't control anymore. The question that bothers Jessica most isn't why did I push them? She knows why, knows the anger was real and huge and impossible to hold in at that moment. The question that bothers her is why did he bring her to the house? The choice, the decision to bring Jennifer into Jessica's home to force a fight instead of handling things like adults. That's the choice she can't understand, can't forgive. Because if David had shown even basic respect, basic human decency, Jennifer would still be alive. Jessica would still be free. Their kid would still have both parents. Everything would be different. But he didn't show respect, didn't show decency. And now, three lives are destroyed. If you count Jennifer's family, five, six, or even seven, if you count Jessica's kid and the childhood they lost. The damage spread out forever, touches everyone, changes everything. Patricia, the cellmate, was let out last month, did her 20 years and walked into a world that had moved on without her. She promised to write to Jessica. Hasn't yet. Probably won't. People say they'll stay in touch. They mean it when they say it. But freedom makes prison feel like a dream you're supposed to forget. Jessica understand. Would do the same if their position were switched. Would want to forget this place existed, would want to pretend she never met a woman in a cell next to her who killed someone over a broken heart. A new cellmate came 3 days ago, 22 years old, doing 50 years for armed robbery. She cries every night. Jessica wants to comfort her, wants to say it will get easier, but she doesn't because it doesn't get easier. You just get used to it. The way you get used to any long term pain, I never stop hurting. You just learn to walk around the hurt. What would you have done? That's the question this story focuses us to think about. If you find out your partner was cheating, if they brought the person they cheated with into your home, if they showed no sorry, no care, no understanding of your pain, would you have walked away? Would you have stayed calm? Or would you have broken too? We want to believe we are better than Jessica, stronger, more in control. But the research says otherwise, says that any of us in the right situation can become someone we don't know, can cross line we swore we'd never cross, can lose everything in a moment of lost control. That's the real scary part of this story. Not that Jessica was specially flawed, but that she was heartbreakingly normal, a regular person pushed past her limit And on the other side of that limit was prison and death and kids without their mother. The legal system treated Jessica like a criminal, and she is. The law doesn't care about emotional pain, doesn't care about betrayal hurt, doesn't care that her whole world had fallen apart and she was drowning in pain she didn't know how to handle. The law cares that she pushed two people and two of them died. Simple cause and effect, action and result. The human story doesn't matter in courtroom. Only the fact matters. And the fact says guilty. But the research tells a more complex story. Tells us that betrayal lights up the same part of the brain as getting hit. That finding out about cheating can create symptoms just like traumatic stress. That anger in response to betrayal is not a character problem but a human response to being violated. None of that makes Jennifer and David's death okay. Nothing makes that okay. But it means Jessica is both guilty and a victim, both responsible and wounded, both destroyer and destroyed. Justice system don't know how to handle that complexity, so they make it simple. Assign blame, lock people away, and call it justice. Jessica's daughter writes letter every week, long letters about schools and friends and the small things about growing up. She signed them love always and draw heart in the edge. Jessica kept every letter in order in a box that's running out of room. She's up to 216 letters now. 216 looks into a life she's missing. Her son doesn't write, doesn't know what to say to this woman who is technically his mother but feels like a stranger. The watch visits are awkward, long quiet moments, forced talk. He counts the minutes until the guard says time's up. Jessica doesn't blame him. She's a ghost in his life, a person who exists in photos but not in memory. Not really. He was too young when she got arrested, too young to hold on to who she was. All he knows now is who she is, the prisoner, the criminal, the woman who made a terrible choice and pay for it every day. Sometimes Jessica thinks about both of them, Jennifer and David, wonders who Jennifer was beyond the affair. Did she want kids? Did she know she was destroying a family? Or did she tell herself some story where she was the victim too? Did she love David? Or did she just love the excitement of being the other woman? And David, the man she married, the father of her children, did he ever really love her? When did he stop? When did he decide that 8 months of lies were worth it? Jessica will never know. Will never get the chance to ask either of them. Jennifer is stuck at 20 forever. David at 39. Both will never get older, never change, never have the chance to regret or say sorry or grow beyond who they were in those final moments. And that's Jessica's burden too. Not just that she killed two people, but that she killed two people she will never understand. People who remain mysteries. Faces in photo. Two people who made choices Jessica can't comprehend that led them into a living room where they would both die. The chaplain visits sometimes talked about being saved and forgiveness and God's plan. Jessica listened politely, doesn't argue, but she doesn't believe there's a plan that includes two kids growing up as orphans because of a push that lasted 2 seconds, doesn't believe there is salvation for taking two lives, doesn't believe in forgiveness when the people you need to forgive are dead and the person you need to forgive most is yourself. The chaplain means well. They all mean well. The counselor and the therapist and the other prisoners who share their story of surviving and growing. But some things can't be talked away. Some guilt lives in your bone. Some sadness doesn't heal. It just becomes who you are. 3 years until possible release. 3 more years of this, and then what? Release into a world that moved on. Two kids who will be 25 and 27, already an adult, a daughter who might forgive, a son who might not even remember her as a real person anymore. Job option for convicted criminals limited. Housing option was she'll be 57 years old with a 20-year gap in her work history and a criminal record that will follow her forever. Who hired a woman who killed two people in a fight at home? Who rents to her? Who trusts her? The answer is almost no one. So she would take whatever job accept her, live wherever accept her, and try to rebuild some small part of her relationship with two kids who barely know her. Try to explain that she's not a monster, that she's a person who made a horrible choice in a moment of unbearable pain. Try to make them understand without making excuses. Try to take responsibility without drowning in shame. It's an impossible balance, but it's the only way forward. This story doesn't have a lesson, doesn't have a neat ending that ties everything together. It just have facts. Jessica Williams is in prison. Jennifer is dead. David is dead. Two kids are growing up as orphans with pain they will carry forever. That's the reality. The messy, painful, unfinished reality. And the question it leaves us with isn't who is to blame, because blame is complicated. David's betrayal was cruel. Jennifer's part in it was wrong. Jessica's violence was criminal. And all of these are true at the same time. The question is, how do we stop this? How do we build a world where people have tools to handle betrayal without violence? Where kids don't lose both parents? Where people who have affairs live and betrayed partner don't become killers? The answer isn't simple. Need better mental health help, better education on solving conflict, better cultural story about men and women and what we owe each other in relationship. Need all of us to do better, be better, choose better before it's too late. Jessica will be let out in 3 years' time, and then she will have to live with what she's done for the rest of her life. She will have to wake up every morning knowing she killed two people, knowing her kids grow up as an orphan, knowing that one moment of anger destroyed everything she's built and took two lives. There is no happy ending, no redemption story, no moment where it all makes sense. Just hard work of existing with unbearable guilt, of trying to be a mother from afar, of counting down days until possible freedom that won't feel like freedom at all. That's her reality. That's her punishment. And it will never be enough to bring Jennifer and David back. We will never give her kids their childhood back. We will never undo the damage done. If this story makes you uncomfortable, good, it should, because this isn't made up. Cases like this happened every year. Real people making real choices with real results. Real kids losing parents. Real family destroyed. And we are all one bad day, one betrayal, one moment of lost control away from being part of a story like this. That's the truth we don't want to face. That we are not as different from Jessica as we would like to believe, that our control is weaker than we think, that tragedy doesn't need evil, just pain and pressure, and a breaking point that finally break. So the question isn't could you do what Jessica did? The question is what are you doing to make sure you never have to find out?